All right, we're back. This is episode 30 of the Feel for the Game College Football Podcast. I'm excited to announce this is our 30th episode, like I just said. So I'm excited. I mean, this is a big milestone for us just to be able to get to 30 episodes and say that we've done it. A lot of podcasts don't make it past like 10 episodes. I think it's like maybe 1% of podcasts make it past 10 episodes or 20, something crazy, but we made it to 30. So I think that gives me a lot of hope that we're going to be able to keep being consistent and keep doing it. So I'm stoked.
On the road to 100,
Yeah, I think we can
100
make that
plus.
happen. I mean, what? We've been recording since July, so a little over half a year now, probably like 7, 8 months we've been recording videos. So, I mean, if you count the pilot episode and a couple breakdown videos from when we started, we've probably got over like 35 official uploaded videos and recordings. But now that we're doing like the full podcast setup, we've got the video background and everything. I mean, we've made a lot of strides. We're going to update quality hopefully soon for audio, get some new mics. This one's great. It's cool. But I mean, it doesn't pick up audio that great. So pumped. We're having a lot of fun with this, as you can tell by what we're setting up here. It's been a lot of fun. So we're gonna go ahead and get into our running back rankings today with 247's rankings for the transfer portal class running backs in 2026. We're gonna break it down. We're gonna talk about who we think is maybe underrated, overrated, if the rankings have it right or not, and maybe who we think are impact guys that could change teams this year. I think there's a couple on here. So we'll go ahead and get started with the top of the list. Our first guy is Caleb Hawkins, running back out of North Texas, transferring to Oklahoma State, along with their coach and all of their players. So I think this is probably out of all of them, hands down, biggest impact guy.
I think him and Maker have a chance to be the best quarterback running back duo in the nation this upcoming year.
I mean, his stats say it all. And I've got all the stats listed right here. You can't see them on the screen. Sorry. I've got them on my notes. Caleb Hawkins had 1,804 total yards as a true freshman, 29 total touchdowns. That is ridiculous. Just in case you don't understand, that is ridiculous. So, for a freshman to have those kind of stats, even in a group of five school, I mean, that's so impressive. Moving up to Power Four, playing for Oklahoma State, I think that he's a game changer. I think that he's got speed, he's got size, he's got all the athleticism you're looking for, and he can catch the ball. And he'll block. So he really is the full package. Size, he's 6'2", 200. Like, the dude's a tank. He's everything you need in a running back. Let's just hope he doesn't have a sophomore slump. I think the Cowboys are set up pretty good for this year. Like we talked about last pod, I think Drew Mestemaker comboed with Wyatt Young and Caleb Hawkins, they're going to be tough on offense. They're going to be really tough to stop.
Something to note too is that he didn't do this by just getting handed the ball every play like some running backs. I mean, Maker had 34 passing touchdowns. So this team is very balanced, and he was able to put up these stats.
Yeah, and they had another running back that totaled over like 500 yards. So we'll get to him in a little bit. But I think they got this right. I think it's safe to say Caleb Hawkins is the best running back in the transfer portal. He may prove to be the best player in the transfer portal. I would take him over Sam Levitt. I think that if it was a draft and I had to pick, I think I'd take Caleb Hawkins, especially with the eligibility upside. So clear cut number one. Let's move on to number two. Hollywood Smothers, and I'm pretty sure his name is Braylon Smothers, or he goes by Hollywood Smothers on 247 Sports, and I'm pretty sure that's what he wants people to call him. So we'll go with that. His stats for this year, he had 1,128 yards and 7 total touchdowns, so pretty solid season for the Wolfpack. He decides to take a gamble and enter the portal and ends up in Texas. I think this could be a really good spot for him. But with him splitting carries with one of the next guys on the list, I think that I wouldn't be expecting the same output that he had last year. I think that'd be unreasonable.
I think he'll work very well. It seems like Texas always has success when they have several backs that can contribute.
Yeah, I think for Texas's success specifically, this is a good recipe. It's a very versatile guy, 5'11", 195. He can block a little bit, and he's solid out of the backfield, but he gets the yards,
No.
hard yards. I like this guy. I think he'll be consistent, but
He won't
got
put up
the
any crazy numbers or anything.
yeah, you've got the issue of him not being able to match production given that he's going to be splitting carries. So I think this is probably close to accurate. I don't know that I'd have him as my number two, but he's definitely a really solid pickup. So Contravius Wisner or Quintravion Trey, that he's got a couple different names too.
Just call him Quint.
We'll go with,
maybe.
I think he goes by Trey. We'll go with Trey. Trey Wisner, 743 yards and 4 touchdowns this year. Kind of a letdown from their big playoff run the previous year. We had over 1,000 yards. Came on late in the season after some injuries to their running back room out of nowhere. And this year was just kind of not really the best for him. Texas run game was awful.
Texas run game was just so bad.
So I don't know if we can blame it on Trey here, but I'll go ahead and say this. I think he's got potential to be solid. He's really good around the edge, like stretch game. He's really solid. He's good out of the backfield, really good. He's good down the field in the passing game, but he's not the guy that runs between the tackles for 5+ yards a carry. That's my only concern. And Florida State's offensive line was abysmal last year, so I'm going to say that he, with a improved offensive line, could be really solid. I think he's too high on this list, so I don't think 247
Probably.
got this right.
I want to scoot this mic up actually before we keep going.
That's valid.
I apologize if the audio is very quiet again. That will be different soon.
Yeah, we're doing some experimentation with this, and at some point, we want to get these little clip-on mics that are closer to our faces so you can actually hear us specifically talking and not just a lot of echoing stuff and static. So, anyway, we'll go ahead and move on. I don't think I have much else to say about Trey. This is one of my favorites. Justice Haynes from Michigan transferring to Georgia Tech. I think he averaged 7.1 yards per carry this year, which is ridiculous. He had like over 150 carries, so it wasn't like he had 50 carries. He had a lot.
Yeah.
He got injured, which sucks because he was on route to have a really good season. I think he would have given Michigan a really good chance to put some pressure on Ohio State. He was their offense pretty much the whole season. 907 yards and 10 total touchdowns. 5'11", 210. He's the perfect like first down, second down, third down back. I'd give him 30 touches a game.
So I just realized that they have Jamal Haynes too. They have two
Seriously?
Haynes. Are they related?
No, I don't know that. 'Cause I thought Jamal Haynes was a senior.
No, he's still there. He's a senior now.
Oh shoot, that's a
Yeah.
loaded backfield. Because Jamal Haynes has been really good for them for the past 2 or 3 years now. So yeah, that's a really good 1-2 punch.
I don't think they're related.
There's
But
another guy on this
that's
list that
that's very
I thought was
interesting.
related to somebody interesting that we'll talk about. And I looked it up. I did all of the web surfing and couldn't find anything. Reddit basically was the only place I could go that would tell me the truth once again. So anyway, back to Justice Haynes. I think Georgia Tech got an absolute steal. This guy should be a top 3 back in this class, at least top 5.
Definitely.
He's really good. Alabama, I cannot believe they let this guy go. Crazy. So he ends up at his third school. We'll see how it goes. They're going to need help after losing Haynes King this year. Somebody's got to pick up the slack. They may just have to run Wildcat. So we got Raleek Brown here from Arizona State going to Texas. This is the guy that's going to be splitting carries with Hollywood Smothers. He was a 9.2 in the transfer portal. I think he was a 5-star out of high school, committed to USC. Had some okay seasons there, nothing crazy, and then popped off this year, replacing Cam Scadaboo for the Arizona State Sun Devils. 5'9", 195, had 1,380 total yards and 6 touchdowns. I like him a lot. I think he's going to be kind of the lightning to the thunder of Hollywood Smothers. I think they're interchangeable in how they can be used in the game plan there. But I like both of those players. I just think that Raleek Brown's athleticism gives him a slight edge on who I would give the ball to on first down. Or at least out of the backfield on third down, I'm definitely throwing it to Raleek Brown. So I like him a lot. I think he's got some upside.
He was a big piece for me in the Arizona State dynasty.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
He was solid. I don't know what his speed rating was in NCAA, but it should be pretty decent. He's quick, really quick. Adam Muhammad from Washington commits to California. So this is a good pickup for Cal because they lose Kendrick Raphael. We're going to talk about him in a little bit. He's farther down the list. But Adam Muhammad was a pretty solid guy for Washington. I don't think he had like really explosive runs this year. 661 total yards and 5 touchdowns. He's 6 foot, 220. So he's a big guy. I find this guy to be more of a goal line back, like short yardage situation. Like he could be a lead back. It's just he's not your typical like he can catch the edge, he can make a guy miss an open field back. So think that he'll get some decent touches this year and he'll make production with what they give him, but I just don't feel like he's a 1,000-yard guy. I may be wrong about that, but I think you got to have somebody with a little more speed and shiftiness to be effective in the run game, especially with a weak offensive line. Cal's probably going to have. but I like him. We'll see what he does. Next guy on this list, I actually really like Bryson Washington from Baylor. He's committed to Auburn. They've got a nice 1-2 punch coming up as well. We'll talk about the second guy. He was a 9.2 in the transfer portal. We've got 881 total yards and 7 touchdowns from him at Baylor this past season. The year before that, he had over 1,000 yards and really, really played well. He was also sharing touches with, I think he was Dawson Pendergrass, maybe. I don't know where he ended up, but he transferred. And I think he battled with some injuries this year. Baylor was kind of up and down. I think that if he finds himself behind a good offensive line at Auburn, which looks like they might have, him, Byron Brown, and Nakai Davenport could be really good. Like that's all I'm saying. They could be really good. I don't know how good Auburn's going to be, but the three of them could be really good.
It's always interesting seeing these players. I feel like there's a lot, like more than you'd expect, transferring to teams that they played the previous year. I've
Exactly.
noticed
Yeah.
that all the time.
It's crazy. Like I remember with a couple of these guys, like they've been in their respective program for a while, and I just never expected them to transfer. And just seeing them already going to be on another team, like it's just like it's crazy how
Uh,
the portal works. Like I didn't even know Bryson Washington had more eligibility. I thought he was done. So very interesting to see him over at Auburn after they lost to Auburn.
and they're going to play this year, right?
Mhm.
They're going to play out Auburn
I
this
think
year.
it's in the first 3 weeks, if not the season opener, they'll play him again.
Yeah.
Crazy. So we got Makai Frazier next from Michigan State transferring to Ole Miss. I haven't actually watched too much of him, even though he's transferred to Ole Miss. This is somebody I probably should have looked into by now. I saw a couple of his highlights, like when he first committed on a post. It looks like he's got some speed in open field. Like he's solid and can move, but I don't know if he's a lead running back kind of guy. We've got Kawan Lacey, and we got another guy at the bottom of the list we're going to talk about. So I don't know where he's going to fit in, to be honest with you. I really like having guys that can still bring the same level of speed and burst and energy to the backfield when the number one guy's out. It's like Kawan Lacey's really quick. He's really strong. He's fast. He's the guy you want to get the rock to. But when he's hurt or when he's out or he needs a breather, it's nice to be able to be like, okay, we can still run the same offense and expect similar results running the ball. Because if you have to take a step off the gas running the ball because your other back needs rest or is injured, it exposes your offensive game plan to the other team. Like, for instance, what should have happened in the Miami game when we were in the playoffs and Kawhi got hurt is we should have gotten blown out. We should have become one dimensional and we should have been easily stopped by the pass rush. But we somehow scored more when he was out of the game. It was crazy. I don't know how that happened, but all I can say is Trinidad Chambliss. So what I would say is having a guy like this to be able to back up Kawan Lacey could be really good. He could be a total flop. With his limited production last year, we don't really know what he can do. He had 545 and 2 touchdowns. It's 5'10, 218, similar build to Kawan Lacey. I don't know what to expect from him. He could be really good. He could just be another guy in the room. We'll just see what he does.
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with this guy. Michigan State's been a very tough team to watch the past few years.
Yeah, their offense behind Aiden Childs has been pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I haven't really tuned in for much Michigan State football recently. I will say though, this would make three of their skill position players that transferred out this year, Aiden Childs, Makai Frazier, and Nick Marsh, all who have had pretty high praise from the general populace. Specifically, Nick Marsh, I'd say, is the best out of all three. Aiden Childs is a little bit overrated in my opinion. We already talked about him though, but I think Makai Frazier could prove me wrong. He could be a little bit more impactful than I'm expecting him to be, but I'd say his rushing total from last year would be probably what he gets this year, if not less. Next, we got Christian Clark. So here's a perfect example of somebody who is too high on this list. Not because he did anything wrong, but because of his limited playing time. I'm not saying that with what he did, he didn't do well. I'm just saying he doesn't have enough sample size to put him where he's at above the guys that we're about to get to. So Christian Clark was from Texas. He transferred to South Carolina. I think he was decently highly rated out of high school. Not really sure exactly what he was, but he's an 8.9 in the portal right now. 293 and 2 touchdowns last year to finish off the season. I think he started against Michigan and played well. He was like the fourth string back though for Texas. So for what it's worth, I think South Carolina really needed a new back this year. Their rushing game was awful last year. Rashul Faison just didn't really get it done. So maybe Christian Clark can add a little bit of extra burst to the backfield, but I feel like they needed a more impact guy to be serious about running the football this year, especially if Lenoris is going to be trying to run the ball too.
I'm looking at some of his ratings, and they're very interesting. So he was out of high school an 88 rated three-star, and he's a redshirt sophomore now. And you read off the stats. He really hasn't done much of anything, and he's gone up a point.
Yeah,
Like, how
I
does
don't
that?
really understand that. But I mean, his performance against Michigan was really solid, right? If that was the game he started, I'm pretty sure it was. I just don't understand why you got him ahead of certain guys. Like Dylan Edwards, we're about to talk about in a minute. He's been in college football for years. We know exactly what that guy can do.
No,
He is an impact player. He's been hurt. He's got injuries. He's bounced around a lot of teams, but he's still an impact player. He can change games in one play. Christian Clark is not an impact player. At least from what I can tell, I don't expect him
he
to be.
hasn't proven it yet.
He could be. Maybe he will be. I just don't see it. So let's just say, for instance, that Christian Clark just pops off this year, goes crazy. He got put in the lead role. This was all he needed was just a chance, and he goes crazy. Fine. I'm totally okay with being proven wrong. I'd love to see it, but I'm not gonna be okay with rankings that put guys like this ahead of guys that we're about to talk about. It just doesn't make any sense. So for now, we're gonna say Christian Clark is kind of a reach for where he's at in the rankings, but still a solid player. Next we've got I have Dylan Edwards on this list. There's a couple guys we're gonna skip. I don't know a lot about Lonnie Montgomery. I think he was solid for ECU, but they've got a more impactful running back that I wanted to talk about going to Florida, so we'll get to him in a minute. But let's go to Dylan Edwards. He transferred from Kansas State after spending time at Colorado, and now he's at Kansas. So transferring to rival schools, Dylan Edwards was one of the best special teams players over the past couple years, all purpose, I should say. Out of the backfield, in the punt return game, and in the backfield running the ball. He's been one of the best guys all purpose. I think his first game ever, he had 150 yards and 3 touchdowns receiving as a running back in his first game ever.
He started off with Colorado, right?
Yeah, first
Yeah.
game against TCU, playing the runner up to the Natty. They ended up winning that game, and everybody thought Colorado was going to be insane. They went 4-8. Spoiler. Dylan Edwards was one of the best players on their team. He leaves to go to Kansas State. I think he had a solid season there and then got hurt this past year, missed most of the season. I did not know he actually came back. I forgot because Kansas State was dead in the water by then, but he ended up having 222 and 2 touchdowns in the last couple of games that he played in. Had one really good game out of like 2 or 3 he played in. He's 5'9", 175, a little undersized, but that never stopped anybody, especially Deuce Vaughn, who also played at Kansas State.
Yeah.
My king. I love Deuce Vaughn. If I ever played college football, I would have modeled my entire game off Deuce Vaughn because I'm also 5'6", and I think that that's the perfect model. Pick somebody who's your size. Darren Sproles is also another guy I think also went to Kansas State and was really, really undersized. So it seems to be a theme for the Wildcats. They really like to pick guys who are below 5'10" at running back. I love Dylan Edwards. Really quick, really fast. I think he's going to be an impact player for the Jayhawks. Unfortunately, wait, is Jalen Daniels coming back this year or is he done?
Surely he's gonna be
I
gone.
think he's coming back.
There is no way.
I think he got another year of eligibility. I can't remember. I feel like this is his last year, though. I may be wrong. I saw somebody was coming back, and I could not believe they got another year of eligibility.
This says active, but there's just no way.
Let's say he's back. Somehow, Jalen Daniels is back. That's a great combo. So, I know they struggled to
No,
replace
he's
Devin
gone.
Neal.
He's gone.
That's a shame. I don't know who they're gonna have at quarterback, so that would be really interesting. They weren't able to replace Devin Neal last year. That was a big hole for them after he left, and they just kind of didn't really do much on offense last year, unfortunately.
Something else too. I said Jamal Haynes is coming back to Georgia or to
Georgia Tech.
yeah, Georgia Tech. He's actually not.
Mm.
So this ESPN was showing stuff wrong.
Yeah, that's not surprising at all. Whoever would have thought that. But yeah, I think that Justice Haynes would definitely feast even more. He's got the whole back,
Oh, for sure.
so that's pretty crazy. That would be maybe a little bit of get back at Alabama after they stole Jahmyr Gibbs from Georgia Tech. If he ends up popping off, that'd be cool. We'll see though. Next guy I've got is C.J. Baxter. I don't think we've really seen much from him since his injury season that he had. I think he tore his ACL or MCL in the offseason. This year, looks like he battled injuries again. He was 237 total yards and 1 touchdown. He had 815 and 5 touchdowns in 2023. Barely, he either didn't play in 2024 or he played a little bit and it wasn't really worth noting. I think that was the year he had his big injury. So never really came back this year and did anything. He's 6'1", 227, highly rated out of high school from what I remember. This guy could be really good. He's going to Kentucky from Texas. Kentucky picked up a lot of guys in the portal, so I don't know who's going to pan out and who's not. But I like CJ Baxter. I think he could be really solid. He's just got to stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean that's really what it all comes down to with him.
He's going to have some competition in the backfield for Kentucky. There's a theme there right now. They're starting to recruit multiple guys at the tailback position to try and share time. Last year, they had Seth McGowan and Dante Dowdle, and both those guys did pretty well. So we'll see what they do this year. They got another guy I think we're going to talk about here in a little bit. Next, we got Turbo Richard. So I did not get to watch a lot of Turbo Richard this past year, but I've heard that he's really, really solid. He's a little undersized at 5'8", but he's 207 pounds. So this dude's a brick. Like, you're not going to want to meet this guy in the open field. I think he had 962 total yards. Yeah, so sub 1,000 total yards, 11 touchdowns on the season. He's
That's
going to
pretty good
Indiana.
in Boston College's offense.
Yeah, they were what, like 2-10 last
They
year?
were terrible.
1-11. They were awful, awful. Bill O'Brien. I think if he doesn't win at least 5 games this year, he's out. Maybe even 6. He needs to win 6. Go to a bowl game. But yeah, Boston College was terrible last year, and he was probably the lone bright spot, to be honest with you. So we'll see what he does. I think anybody can play well behind the offensive lines that Kurt Cignetti's building in Indiana. Given that they had 2,000-yard guys last year, I'll go ahead and bet he tops 1,000 this year. I think that's a solid
Sure.
impact guy. Underrated pull for Indiana. Josh Hoover and Turbo Richard and Nick Marsh could be one of the best trios in the country, and nobody's ready for it yet. As long as Kurt Cignetti's the coach, I believe. So we'll see what happens. Taylor Tatum from Oklahoma transfers to Michigan. So I didn't realize that he didn't even play much this year. I think he had 1 carry for -1 yards this year. In 2024, he had 319 for 4 touchdowns. So not really sure what the shakeup was there, considering Jaden Ott didn't really play last year either. I don't know what to expect out of this. He's going to Michigan. They lose Justice Haynes. I don't know. I'm not expecting much from Taylor Tatum.
Yeah, I mean I agree. I'm not sure.
Yeah, with guys like this, you don't want to count him out because he's proven that he can play football at a high level. It's just he hasn't gotten a full season of reps in, and he has not been trusted with a running back one role yet. I don't know that Michigan will make him the running back one. They always recruit guys. Like I think they have Xavion Hyder this year. He was like a 5-star in this class. He's supposed to be really good. So we'll see if he ends up panning out. If not, Tatum may get some playing time. But not much to be said about him because he hasn't played much. This is a fun one. Abu Sama the third. So whenever I see this guy's name, I immediately think of the snow game against Kansas State, where he went for like 350 on the ground and 4 touchdowns. It was like every single time that they got the ball, he was ripping off a big touchdown run. It was ridiculous. He had over half of his season output in one game that year, his freshman year. He is now, I think, a senior heading off to Wisconsin, if not a junior for eligibility. That he's probably gotten extra, which wouldn't surprise me. But Wisconsin needs a impact guy running back. They've got to have it. So I think they'll be leaning on him.
Yeah, he had 276 and 3 touchdowns in that game.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, was that in
inflated that.
2024?
That was I think it was 23. No, maybe it was
Was it
24.
23?
I can't remember.
Trying to see how much of a cut that takes into his like total yards for the year.
Yeah, getting half of your season output in yards in one game would be insane. Let's
I mean,
watch
in
it. P. Ron had
23
a
he had
crazy game.
614, and then in 24 he had 587. So I mean, it's basically
He's been
it was one of
consistent.
those 2 years. That's like 40% of his yards.
Unreal. Yeah, I'll never forget that game. He was incredible. He hasn't really done anything ridiculous since then. He had 751 and 5 touchdowns this past year. 5'11", 210. He's big. He'll run over you. That's a Wisconsin running back. I just think you got to see a little bit more out of him in the open field. With Colton Joseph at quarterback, the run game's going to be really solid. I would have to imagine if the offensive line pans out. I think this is a good pull. I'd say that probably not accurately ranked compared to some of these guys, but he'd be somewhere in the middle for me anyway. So
Something else I just noticed on here too is he did that with 16 carries.
that's ridiculous. I mean, the snow kind of just has an effect on some people. They just play differently.
17 yards a carry.
That's mental. Crazy.
Let me see how long his touchdowns were before we move on. 71, 77, 60.
That's insane. We need to look at the Samaje Perine Kansas game at some point. That was a crazy one I
Oh,
watched
no.
live. I don't think that anything will ever touch that. He had like 400 or 500 total yards in that game. Unreal. But yeah, I like him for Wisconsin. That's a good pickup for Luke Fickle. So here's a cool one. This guy barely even played at all last year. I thought he was going to be one of the best running backs in college football, and he barely touched the field. Mekhi Hughes. He's rated a .88 in the transfer portal rankings. Out of high school, I don't think he was rated very high. Goes to Tulane for 2 seasons. He had back-to-back seasons over 1,300 total yards, and somehow did not see the field at Oregon. I don't understand that. Something had to be wrong. I don't know what it was. He's out of there. He goes to Houston. His best season at Tulane, he had 1,577 yards, 17 total touchdowns in 2020. So you know exactly what this guy can do. I remember watching him play Ole Miss, and we could not stop him. He got 5 yards every single play. We somehow won that game by a miracle, but he was incredible. And he transferred to Oregon, didn't do anything. I don't understand it. I think Dean Connors is gone from Houston. Maybe wrong about that.
Check that for us.
He had a solid season, so I would imagine if he's back, he'll still get a lot of carries. If he's gone, Mekhi Hughes should hog all the carries. He's a 300 carry kind of guy. That's what Tulane treated him like, and he was every bit of it. So I think this is going to be a huge bounce back season for him. He's one of my most underrated guys on this entire list.
Dean Connors is gone.
Okay. So Mekhi Hughes is going to play a huge role for me in Willie Fritz's offense. I think with Connor Wigman being there, and they also got a top-rated quarterback out of the past class. It was like Keyshawn Henderson or
They
something.
got the number one guy
I can't remember
in like
exactly what his
some
name is.
websites.
Yeah, he's really good. So who knows? He could steal the job from Connor Wigman. But I thought Connor had a really good season, so I bet he finishes out, and Henderson will sit behind him. So I think Houston's going to be sneaky, really sneaky this year. Unfortunately, they lost that tight end that we really liked. His name was
Yeah.
like Koizel or something.
Was it Tanner Koziel or something?
Yeah, he's going to the draft. He's a sneaky draft pick. Really, really good. Played incredible in the bowl game against LSU. But I'd watch out for Houston for sure. Next, we got Carson Hansen. So this is like the most Penn State running back of all time to me. Even though they like never have like white running backs, like he immediately struck me as like, yeah, that makes sense. Perfect for Penn State. 1,086 yards and 6 touchdowns last year. He's 6'2", 220. He's a total bruiser. Averaged over like 5.5 yards a carry this season. I think he's going to be good. I mean, he's proven up to this point. He's been a solid number one guy for Iowa State. I bet Matt Campbell's going to lean on him. I think Rocco Beck go-to out of the backfield from what I remember. I think that's not going to change. I like Carson Hansen. I think he probably should be higher on the list, to be honest with you. So
He had some tough runs in that Week 0 game against Kansas State.
He was really good at the goal line. I mean, he's good pretty much all over the field. He's a great run blocker. And I remember we were at the Big 12 championship game, and he was in that game playing really well. Might I add, he was pass blocking really well. They had a tough time with Arizona State defensive line in that game, but he picked up some really strong blitzes. I like him a lot. I think Penn State got a good one here. This might be my most underrated guy on the list. We got Evan Pryor next. He's rated a .87. I just don't understand that, but I guess the output's nothing ridiculous to write home about. I've got one stat that I want to key in on. He had 629 and 4 total touchdowns, averaging 6.9 yards per carry. Actually, yeah, I think that was per carry, but overall, per touch, he was averaging more, I'm pretty sure. Oh, no, sorry. He was averaging more per rush than he was per pass catch. So you don't really hear about that very often.
Yeah.
Most guys, if they're catching a lot of passes, are probably averaging more per reception. But Evan Pryor is just super explosive. I talked about him last year. He's one of the first guys I really harped on during our preseason rankings. We were talking about guys. I think we were talking about Cincinnati's quarterback, Brendan Sorsby. And I was just talking about the guys around him and who I thought was going to be good. I immediately thought of Evan Pryor from the previous season. So he's going to Florida. I like this a lot. I think if Tramel Jones ends up shaping out as the QB1 there. That combo is going to be pretty tough to stop. They've got Eric Singleton at wide receiver. It's a lot of speed. A lot of speed. I think that's going to kill people. So that'll be something to watch. And this was the guy I was talking about earlier in the pod that I thought was related to somebody. He used to play at Ohio State. And the only prior I knew that played at Ohio State was Terrell Pryor. And so I went back, I went into the Reddit sub threads, and he's not related to him. So standalone, even though they played at the same school, had the same last name, not brothers, not cousins, nothing. To my knowledge, I could be disproved. Reddit might be wrong. But really good player. I think it's a great pickup. 5'9", 195. I expect some big things from him, honestly. I think he's super underrated.
Yeah, I mean, he's a lot better than these stats would make you think. And like, this is a dude that like beginning of the game, he could take one 75 yards to the house first play.
Absolutely. And he got stuck behind Tommy Walker as kind of like their main guy, first, second, third down back. So I expect him to take a bigger role for them. I know they have Jaden Ball, but this guy may be a better pass catcher than Jaden Ball is out of the backfield. So I think he might line up in the slot. I think you can put him out wide. You can do a lot with Evan Pryor pretty much all over the field. I think John Summerall is going to utilize him very well. I expect probably similar output since he's going to be sharing touches, but I like him a lot. So we talked about this guy earlier. I didn't mention his name, but Ashton Gray from North Texas going to ECU. So he'd be replacing London Montgomery over at ECU. I like him a lot. He had 386 and 5 touchdowns this year as the backup for Caleb Hawkins. I think he would have probably done well to stay at North Texas, but considering that they got another guy already, he probably was going to be battling for touches once again. I like him to probably be solid for ECU, but we just haven't seen a big enough sample size for me to think that he could be better than what he's put out there already. He's really good, really solid number 2 guy. I don't know if he's a number 1 running back yet.
Yeah, I mean, he got kind of unfortunate with Hawkins coming in last year as a true freshman and just taking over.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was going to be able to get running back 1 touches behind Caleb
No.
Hawkins. So that's understandable. He's 6 foot, 208, solid size. I think ECU got a good one here. Maybe he's got a lot more in the tank that he wasn't able to get on the field with the touches they were giving him last year. So I don't know much else about Ashton Gray. I watched him a couple times. I think that he'll be solid. So we'll see how he pans out at ECU. I don't watch a lot of ECU games. They're a lot of fun, but they're losing Caton Hauser this year, and we're stealing their offensive coordinator, Ole Miss is. So who knows what they'll do. This does not make any sense to me. I'm just going to go ahead and clarify. This is the most egregious part of the whole list. Cam Cook is all the way down here at the bottom of this list. I don't know why. He had 1,945 yards and 16 touchdowns last year for Jack State. Came from TCU after a year or two of kind of average, mediocre seasons. Nothing crazy to write home about. And then out of nowhere, over 1,900 yards and 16 touchdowns. One of the best players in college football. I do not understand why you've got guys like Christian Clark from Texas who had 293 total yards. And then you've got Cam Cook just hanging out down here. You wouldn't even know he's on the list if you didn't scroll down far enough. I know there's no numbers next to these players, but this is a ranking. They have ranked guys higher than Cam Cook. I don't understand that. Just because he played for Jacksonville State does not mean that he's an 8 point or a .87. I think it's crazy.
Who was his coach there that went to West Virginia?
It's a good question. I don't
Who
know.
was it? Because that's why he's going to West Virginia.
I actually didn't know that
It
they
was
had a
Rich
coach
Rod.
there. Oh, Rich
No.
was it Jack State?
Yeah.
Dude, what?
Hmm.
So I knew Rich Rod was going to West Virginia again. I didn't realize he was coming from Jacksonville
Yeah, he was already
State.
there last year, and then Cam Cook stayed at Jacksonville State, and now he's going to West Virginia.
Dude, I remember when Rich Rod was Ole Miss's offensive coordinator. It was when we had John Rice Plumlee and Matt Corral. And like that's the Rich Rod offense. Is the mobile quarterback. We had like 3 true freshman running backs. It was like Snoop Connor, uh, we had Henry Parrish, and we had Jerry and Ely all at the same time. And we just fed all those guys, ran read option, ran jet sweep fakes, and John Rice Plumlee ran the ball all the time. He was the GOAT. But I like Rich Rod. I think Cam Cook's going to have a really, really good year. I expect, I mean, I'm not going to expect a 2,000 yard season, but I expect a plus 13, 1,400 yard season from him. West Virginia's going to have to lean on him. I mean, they didn't have much last year. They brought in like 53 stars this year. He's probably the best player on the roster. So I expect him to get a ton of touches this year. Crazy these this long. So here's an interesting guy. We talked about him a little bit already, Duke Watson. So I got him confused with a different guy from Louisville, but he still had some really solid output there. In 2024, he averaged 10 yards per touch. That was including rushing and receiving. I think he had over 8 yards per carry, maybe a little over 7.5. That's stupid good. And it was on like over 100 carries. So this guy's really, really solid, really explosive. 6 foot 180, a little bit on the lighter side for a running back, so he can move. Had 158 and one touchdown this year, dealt with a lot of injuries. So unfortunately, he didn't get much output this year, but I think UCF got kind of a steal here. So we'll see what happens with that. I think him to probably be a third down back. Probably can pick up, a couple explosives over the course of the year. I don't know if he's a number one back, but he's fast. So I think UCF probably find a way to utilize him to the best way they can. May not be a first string running back caliber guy yet. We'll see, but I like his speed a lot.
Yeah, I'm excited to see them play this year. I think they're going to be improved.
Yeah, who did they get at quarterback? It was
It was Barnett.
Yeah, Alonzo
James
Barnett.
Madison. Yeah.
I think they've got some serious playmakers. They could be really solid. I'd say them and Houston are probably the sneakiest teams in the Big 12. And Houston won 10 games this year, but still, I think they're pretty sneaky.
Speaking of James Madison, our next guy.
This is crazy to me, these this far down the list, too.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Wayne Knight ranked a .87 with 1,770 yards and 10 touchdowns this year. 1,700 yards. Almost 1,800 yards. And he's all the way down here. I don't even know who Jazon Patterson is.
And he's tied with the rating.
Like, no offense to Patterson, but I just don't get that. That does not make sense. 247, explain, please. I would love to know who is making these star rankings and the number rankings. Like, what is going into that? What's the factors? I know it has something to do with high school rankings, like a lot to do with it, but that's dumb. You have results on the field in college football.
This is just like AP poll voters not moving teams down. It's the same thing.
That's exactly what it is. It's complete
Same thing.
ridiculousness and incompetency from people who are working in this industry. Unfortunate. Wayne Knight is one of the most explosive players in college football. Hands down, UCLA got a steal. 5'7", 190. He's still really built. So to be 5'7" and 190 is ridiculous. Like for my frame, I'm almost 5'7". If I weighed 190 pounds, I would look like a professional bodybuilder. That or I'd be fat. So he's found a way to be as fast as he is, not be a chunky looking bodybuilder, but also still not be fat and slow. So this guy is probably one of the fastest guys in college football. I had to put a bet on who one of the fastest guys was. I would say Wayne Knight's up there. So I like him a lot. I think he's extremely underrated and undervalued, specifically because of his height and where he came from. That's why he's on the bottom of this list. So crazy that 247 has him down so far. Next, we got Nakai Davenport. I say that. That may not be how you say his name. Nakai Davenport. Forgive me. I'm not great with pronunciation. So we'll go with Nakai Davenport for now. .87 ranking. He had 662 and 7 touchdowns for the Bulls last year. 6 foot 216. It's a big guy. I think that Auburn being able to have Davenport and also have Bryson Washington, that's going to be a lightning thunder punch too. A lot of teams have that now with the transfer portal. They're going and getting guys like this. With Byron Brown also, I don't know what they can do, man. It's going to be really scary. I think Ole Miss actually does play Auburn this year. It's been a while, but we play them. I'm really scared for that game.
I think State plays them too.
I think Auburn might actually be good this year. And the only reason I'm blazing Auburn is because Hugh Freeze is gone. Praise the Lord for Auburn fans. He's gone. It's okay. You're going to be fine. Maybe. You're still Auburn. But Byron Brown is your savior. That's what you need to know. And I fully believe in Byron Brown and the experience. I'm just so happy he's coming back to college football. I thought that he opted out of the bowl game and we were never going to see him play football again, or he was going to end up in the UFL and I was going to have to go drive to some random city in the United States to go watch him play. That's how much I love Byron Brown. I think he's a beast. So I'm stoked that we get to watch him play again this year. I would love it if he won the Heisman, to be honest with you. If Trinidad doesn't win the Heisman, I want Byron Brown to win the Heisman. And he's going to get the Cam Newton comps. Sorry, I'm glazing him so much right now. Nakai Davenport's the guy they're supposed to be talking about right now, but the combo of all those guys they have in the backfield is going to be serious. So I think Auburn's rushing attack could be good. He could have a similar output at Auburn again this year, if not better. I think he's more of a bruiser, so Bryson Washington will be your speed guy out of the backfield. Davenport more third down, short yardage, in my opinion. Because we got Dante Dowdle from Kentucky transferring to Georgia. I actually did not know he transferred to Georgia until I looked at this list. Dante Dowdle was huge. One of the biggest backs in college football. He's 6'2", 227. He had 590 and 3 touchdowns last year for a struggling Kentucky team. I think he's going to have a breakout year at Georgia. I think him and Nate Frazier are going to be so hard to stop. The combo of speed and power from those two players, if their offensive line is above average, Georgia could probably win 11 to 12 games just because of that. Georgia's traditionally the play action, like slam the ball down your throat, but with I almost said Stetson Bennett. Gosh, with Gunnar Stockton, I think that their ability to run the play action now has opened up a lot more in the passing game. His threat to run the ball and the guys he can hand it off to makes their play action game so freaking good. So I think Dante Dowdle will hit 1,000 yards this season. I don't know if Nate Frazier will hit 1,000 yards, but I see Georgia making a postseason run, and I think Dante Dowdle at some point will top 1,000 all purpose.
Do you know if he was injured at all last year? Because I'm looking through his game stats, and there's some of these games like Vanderbilt 4 carries, Louisville 6 carries, Georgia 7 carries.
I would say some of those games Seth McGowan got a good portion of carries, but the games that he didn't get a lot of carries were games where Cutter Boley either went stupid and threw the ball 50 times
Or just ran the ball a million times.
or they got blown out like by Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
So like at some point they just quit running the ball. So
Well, in their 10-3 win over Auburn, he only had 3 carries.
that game was awful. I remember
Yeah, that was
watching
one
that
of the
game. That
worst
was
games.
terrible.
Did that make like our worst game of the week?
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah, our optical assault game of the week.
Yeah.
I missed that segment. I can't wait for that segment. It's gonna be so great. Can't wait to go back to next season and do that. Chris Johnson Jr. from SMU transfers to Clemson. So I don't know how I feel about this guy. He's super freaking fast. So behind a good offensive line, he could be a crazy speed demon, all-purpose back, and really hard to stop on a good Clemson team. But I'm just not so confident that Clemson's going to be good again this year.
And he is a transfer to Clemson. So
Yeah, I
I don't
don't know.
know if that's going to work out well.
I'm not sure he's going to follow suit in the line of the Wayne Gallmans and the CJ Spillers. I think he's probably going to be pretty average. So I don't know who else Clemson has. I think they had Adam Randall switch from wide receiver to running back. He was solid. I think he's done there though. So he may end up being the number one back. I saw Dabo make a comment about this guy saying like he wasn't very locked in, like he just didn't take things very seriously at SMU, and he was challenging him to kind of take a step up this year. So I don't know if he's going to do that or not. I guess we'll find out. 6 foot, 184. I mean, this guy's got like ridiculous speed. He's the perfect size back to be able to break off your insane 75-yard touchdown, but then fail to amass 20 more yards the rest of the game.
Yeah.
He's that kind of guy. So I like him, but I'm not super high on him. I'd say he's in a good spot on this list. All right, next we got Marquise Davis. So he played limited time at Missouri last year. He got stuck behind a bunch of really solid running backs there, so he didn't really get to play. He transfers to Louisville and pretty much wide open there. Who's going to be the running back one? I saw a clip the other day on Instagram of him running a route and catching a one-handed pass down the field. So I guess he's got some down the field passing or receiving capabilities. He had 200 yards and 2 touchdowns at Missouri, no receptions, I think. Very, very low on the receiving if he had any at all. So I don't know what level of threat he's going to be from Louisville this year, but Ole Miss plays them week 1. I think it's like the 6th of September. It'll be like one of the last games of week 1. We may try to go to that game. That'll be a really fun one. It's in Nashville, right?
Yes.
I want to go back. I think one of my buddies commented on my post the other day saying he didn't know we went to Nashville, and it just brought back so many good memories of me like remembering how much I loved it and how much I want to go back. So hopefully we'll get to do that. I'd love to go back to Nashville for that game. It is probably gonna be on a Monday though, so I'd probably have to ask off work.
I think it's the Sunday game.
Yeah, either
Uh,
way, I ain't going into work on Monday if I'm going to that game. So I have to figure that out. I think he could have some upside. I'm not really sure exactly what he'll do. Louisville's got Isaac Brown, I think, coming back still, right? Do we know? He had a lot of injuries last year.
let's see.
I know he's not going to the draft, so unless he transferred and he's not on this list, he should be back.
Yeah, he's still there.
So yeah, I think he'll probably be more of a third down pass catching guy. I think Isaac Brown's easily the number one guy. He can literally average over 8 yards a carry with the kind of speed he's got. He's done it. So I don't see who on earth is going to beat him out. To be honest with you, I think there was a rumor that he was going to transfer. I think that's what happened early in the transfer portal. Is that it was rumored he was entering the portal and then he stayed. So that's what I remember. Maybe wrong. Next guy we got is Kendrick Raphael from California going to SMU, replacing Chris Johnson Jr. He had 1,188 yards and 14 touchdowns. Pretty solid output at Cal last year. I think he'll be an impact guy for SMU.
Yeah, this is a solid player. I think he'll do well there.
Yeah, I unfortunately made the decision to bet on Cal multiple times last year. So I watched this guy a lot.
This is another transfer too that's going to a team that they played against.
Yeah, that's crazy. They'll
Ruined
play him again.
ruined SMU's chance to make the ACC championship.
Yeah, they really screwed that up for SMU. So I'm sure they're happy to have him on their side this year. I think he'll be pretty solid. Kevin Jennings is coming back this year, so who knows what those two will be able to do. Here's a really good one.
Hold on, I want to talk about Simeon Price a little bit
Oh yeah, I skipped over
because he's
him.
up here. Yeah. So this was a guy that I got to watch at State a little bit, and he was a solid running back. He was behind a lot of good guys, so he didn't get to do a ton, but just your typical bruiser. He can also receive the ball out of the backfield. In 2022, because he was a true freshman that year, he had 100 receiving yards. But
Solid.
the sparse play since then was at Colorado last year, which is not the place you want to go if you want to run the football. Going to Oregon now, I think we'll have a better chance to put up some better numbers, maybe.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys leaving Oregon, so I would have to imagine that he gets some decent touches there. I forgot he went to state. I left a lot of these guys off, like Caleb Jackson. He's a great back. I mean, he was a bruiser for LSU. He had that one clip against state where he threw that guy into the bleachers. It's a crazy
Yeah,
stiff arm. But I mean, there's just not a lot to be said about some of these guys. Maybe I don't have elite ball knowledge and I'm missing on some of these, but I wanted to condense it down. We've got like 30 guys on the list, so for what it's worth, I skipped over some of these guys, so thanks for plugging Simeon Price. Forgot the state. The next guy I'm going to talk about is Jaheim White from West Virginia going to North Texas. So he should be right there, yeah.
yeah.
Jaheim White was one of the best running backs in college football in 2024. He had 966 total yards and 8 touchdowns that year. He got hurt in the first or second game this past year. It was a real shame. I think West Virginia missed him really bad this year. He's got elite speed, like track speed. I fully anticipate that North Texas is going to be right back in stride running the ball with this guy. I don't think they're going to skip a beat. So they're losing their top two backs, replacing him with a really good guy. Proven commodity. If he can stay healthy, I think he'll be solid for North Texas.
I just realized something. So the coach that North Texas hired was previously at West Virginia.
Hmm. Well, there you have
So he
it.
probably coached this guy at some point.
The connection. That's typically what happens in the portal
It
and
was
recruiting.
Neil Brown.
Neil Brown. Well, you got yourself a good one, Neil Brown. You should get paid for that, but that would be illegal. All right, we're going to talk about Damari Alston next. So he's from Auburn. The reason why I wanted to talk about him is not because he's a super impact player. He hasn't really done much, but this was the guy that like they had the whole snafu where like they thought he got dismissed from Auburn or something like in the middle of the season. It was really weird. I still don't know what happened with that. To this day, I don't know what happened with that, but I thought we'd at least give him some shout out on here. I don't know what he's gonna do at Tulsa this year. That's where he's transferring to. But any guy who transfers from the SEC to a Group of Five school has a really good shot at being great. So looks like he had 157 and 1 touchdown this year. I mean, that's not really that impressive, but they had a ton of running backs there. Jeremiah Cobb was the lead back, and he tore it up. So Damari Alston might be able to make some stuff happen at Tulsa. Hopefully, he has a better coaching staff, and hopefully they treat him a little bit better than Auburn did. Next, we've got Javante Barnes. So here's another guy that spent a whole season injured or just didn't really find his way onto the field, but had a lot of success in 2024. He had 700 yards and 6 touchdowns in 2024. Not sure what happened to him, to be honest with you. I thought he was really good at Oklahoma last year, the year before last, and then just nothing this year. So really unfortunate. I think that he got hurt from what I remember, but he's a bigger back. He's still quick though. I think he's a really, really good pickup for Kentucky, transferring out of OU. So Kentucky now has a couple guys they can lean on, see what they can do with that. I don't know who the starter will be or if they'll split carries, but I think Javonte Barnes is a pretty solid pickup for Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, with the way Oklahoma ran the ball last year, getting 700 yards is pretty solid.
I think that was 2024. He had 700 yards. So like last year, I don't know what happened. I'll have to figure that out. I didn't really dive into that too much, but I expect some similar output at Kentucky. I think they'll lean on him too. All right, so we're gonna get into these last three guys. These are far and above the most underrated guys on this list. We'll start with Evan Dickens from Liberty.
I'm not even
1,400
seeing him
yards.
pop up on here.
You got to keep going down. It's crazy. Got guys like Dalen Lee that I've never heard of. Oh, Rip Gavin Salchuk. He used to be so good.
Yeah. Golly.
Yeah, you got to load more players just to get to
I
him.
had some trouble on the finding the last guy. Having that again.
How far did I have to go down for this?
Golly.
Let's just take a moment to realize, and we may have passed it by chance. No,
There we go. There we go.
there he is. So
Yeah.
we've had to go astronomically far down this list to get to Evan Dickens. He was a top 15 running back in college football last year. Help me understand, somebody? I just don't get it. 1,400 yards and 17 total touchdowns. And he is a .85 and probably the 70th ranked running back in the portal. I'm sorry, Cade Yakamele.
Number 89 running back in the portal.
I'm pretty sure this guy is a fullback. That is a number one running back. And he's the number 89th ranked running back in the portal. Crazy. Sure, he got paid decent to go to Boston College to replace Turbo Richard, but I just don't get it. I don't understand. I think he's going to have a great season. I don't expect 1,400 yards and 17 touchdowns. Liberty sucked last year too, and he was able to put that up. So maybe at Boston College he can go over 1,000 and he can show people that he is everything that we thought he is. I just think this is a terrible rating by 247 Sports. I don't get it. Crazy.
He was from IMG High School,
Really?
so I mean, this dude that can play for sure.
We talked about that the other day, didn't we? We're talking about IMG.
I think so.
I can't remember. I was talking about IMG with somebody the other day, but that's a crazy high school.
I actually went to a baseball game of theirs over spring break.
Really?
Yeah, they were playing up there. It's so good.
Oh, somebody was telling me you had to pay like 75 grand to go to IMG.
Mm,
That's
it's
insane.
crazy.
Unreal. Paying to go to high school, 75K. Dig me a grave. The next guy, another super underrated guy. This is insane. Cam Edwards from UConn had 1,427 yards and 20 touchdowns. And he is somewhere buried on this list. Absolutely ridiculous.
Can't find. There we go. There.
So is he higher? I must have missed.
Yeah, he's
Place
higher
for
than
those.
Dickens.
Crazy. I don't understand how on earth this guy's this far down the list. He was higher rated than Evan Dickens in total yards and touchdowns. Still at the bottom of this list. Don't understand it. He goes to Michigan State to replace Mekhi Frazier. I think he could be really, really good. If Michigan State has any level of success, I would blame it on Cam Edwards. I think that's an easy peg there for him for sure. Really solid guy. The last guy on this list is kind of a homer plug, but just hear me out. Joshua Dye is ranked at 0.82 by the transfer portal. He is one of the best players in the entire, I think it's either Division II or FCS.
I think I'm just gonna hang it up on scrolling now for that.
Yeah, don't even go that far. We're at 0.86.
0.82. Yeah, that's gonna be pretty far down.
Yeah, that's gonna be way down there. There's thousands of players in the portal. Joshua Dye from Southern Utah commits to Ole Miss. He's 5'11", 205. Here are his stats from last season. 1,871 total yards and 28 total touchdowns. And the only guy on this list that even got close to that was Caleb Hawkins with 29 touchdowns. So, by that logic, Joshua Dye is the best running back in the portal. I'm kidding. I think he could be really, really solid. He's perfect size for pretty much any role you want to put him in at running back. He can catch the ball. He can run it. He can kick return. He really can do it all. I don't know that he'll see more than 5 carries a game at Ole Miss, if not less. But I know that Ole Miss has got some solid depth there. I would love to see this guy find his way into the rotation and get some serious playing time. He was really, really good at whatever level he was playing at, whether it was FCS or Division two. Like, I can't remember.
FCS.
For FCS, that's insane stats. Division two, it happens sometimes. Division three, it happens kind of. But for FCS, that's really solid. I don't even know how good Southern Utah was, but definitely one of the most underrated players in the entire transfer portal, statistically speaking. There's not many guys in the entire portal that can say they've got this kind of statistical output. So I'd say if he was on a team that needed a number one running back, he would be my pick as one of the most underrated guys in the country. But because he's stuck behind Kawan Lacey and Makai Frazier, he may be running back 2 or 3. So
He had 190 yards and 4 touchdowns against Tarleton State,
Tarleton was
which
good.
is probably the best team they played all year. So playing up to good competition.
It's impressive. I'd love to see what this guy does. Unfortunately, we don't have spring games anymore. So don't get to watch guys like this play. I'll never forget. Some of the best moments I had as an Ole Miss fan growing up was watching the spring games and picking out guys and being like, that guy's going to be really stinking good. I remember Quinshawn Judkins throwing a guy into the bleachers in a spring game and thought, if that guy's not our starting running back, there is an issue. He ended up going for like 1,600 yards that season. I remember Jordan Teamu in his he came from like a military academy, and I think it was like a JUCO military academy, and nobody knew who he was. He shows up at Ole Miss after Chad Kelly's gone. I think Shea Patterson was like supposed to be the starter. He was throwing nukes down the field in our spring game, and I was like, that guy's going to start. I don't know what's going to happen, but he's going to start. Shea Patterson goes down with an injury against LSU. He starts, ends up finishing the season really strong. He was so good for Ole Miss. It was a shame that we were so bad on defense and had no run game. The receivers we had and the quarterback we had, I mean, we were one of the best deep threat teams in the country. We went 5-7. So,
I just found out something about him too. He went to New Mexico Military Institute, which is the same place where Diego Pavia started off.
oh snap! All great quarterbacks start at New Mexico Military Institute. That's crazy. I saw Diego Pavia's 40-yard dash today. It looked pretty slow.
Really?
It's their pro day. So
Uh,
I don't know what the time was because it didn't show a timestamp, but I had to guess somewhere between like a 4.7 and a 4.8. Maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of people were trashing him. Unfortunate. That just shows you though. I mean, like the dude ran for 1,000 yards or something like that, and he was not a 4.5 guy. He was
just
not a
those
4.5 speed
quick
guy.
movements.
Hmm.
That's not always captured in the 40 time.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's got long stride and he's got pretty good vision, and he's tough as nails.
Yeah.
So that equates to yards. Crazy though. Yeah, I just had to go on a little spring game tangent. I think I talked about that in one of my short videos on TikTok. By the way, if you watch this consistently at all and you didn't know we had a TikTok, go look us up on TikTok. Go for the game college football. We got a lot more short form stuff there that's fun. But I talked about spring games on there for a little bit. I'm just so frustrated with where we're at. We're heading into that time of the year and we just don't have anything. There's nothing to look forward to. I think some teams still do them.
State still does theirs.
Ole Miss did some stupid thing last year with Lane Kiffin where we like did like mini games. It was dumb. I think we do like a fan autograph signing now, which is cool. But when we used to do the spring game, they'd let all like the kids go out on the field and get like autographs and stuff. Like I remember we went down on the field one time when I was a kid, and Phil Longo was the OC at Ole Miss. I don't know where he is now, but like he went up and talked to me and my dad. Like we got a picture of him and his family for him. Like it was just normal. Like another day in college football, the fans are hanging out with the coaching staff. Like you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
That's not normal anymore. Like I remember going out to the field when I was a kid in a spring game, like my first one ever, and I got to meet Robert Kondichi. He was like 6'5", 330 pounds. He was like the number one prospect for the draft, and I was like this tall. I still have a picture of it somewhere. It's hilarious, but like as a kid watching college football, that's kind of what built like my love for the game is getting to meet players, meet coaches, get out there. Like we had no business being out there talking to these people, but it was an event where you could watch people play that didn't normally get playing time, and you also get to watch guys who are high profile play, and it's a low profile environment.
No.
So it was so fun. I loved it. One of the coolest things I saw, I think it was a couple years ago, was one receiver I really liked at Ole Miss. He was I don't know if he was a walk on or if he just was like buried on the depth chart. but he was cooking up some of our starting guys and like our second teamers. And ended up after the game, he was white, by the way, he was white, and he was short. And at the time, I just loved watching guys like that were really good at just being mechanically sound, high motor guys, right? And I would go watch their film, and I just thought it was really cool seeing how they played. And I asked him at the spring game, I was like, okay, I got to know who you focus on for your film when you're trying to study routes. And I bet you can't guess who he said he studied. Cooper Cup. So it just goes without saying, like, high motor guys study high motor guys. But at the end of the day, that was a fun memory too that I had. Like, I just wish spring games could go back to the way they were.
Yeah.
Everybody's so scared of getting their players poached.
Reminds me of the Pro Bowl. What's happened to that?
Pro Bowl is such a shame. It is such a shame. Bunch of clown shows going on over there. I can't stand it. But yeah, enough for my spring game rant. That wraps up our list. My final thoughts on this. This is an extremely loaded position group. I think it goes without saying the list is screwed up. It's
Yeah, the
not
order
right.
is just not even close to what it should be.
But there are a ton of talented guys on this list. There's probably 80 guys on this list that have played meaningful football. When I say meaningful, I'm talking like they touched the football at least 50 times in a season. So there's no telling what some of these guys can do. I really think that there's going to be some huge breakout guys that maybe didn't get a lot of playing time. A couple busts, like you'll have your Mackay Hughes maybe in this class. Who knows? But I think there'll be some redemption arcs too. I'd love to see that. A lot of game changing players, a lot of impact guys. I think the guys that really struck me that were just too far down the list. I think it was a guy from Colorado that went to Kansas State and then to Kansas. The Edwards kid.
Dylan Edwards, yeah.
Dylan Edwards was way too low. Jaheim White was way too low. Both explosive playmakers that will change all purpose special teams, passing, and running. Like they just do it all. Those guys can change a game with one play, and they're way too far down the list. So I didn't love that. And then 4 out of the top 10 running backs in all of college football last year are in this cycle and change teams. That is a lot of turnover. And thankfully, Kawan Lacey was not one of them. So lots to go off of here. I think our takes are pretty solid on these guys. There may be some guys we missed. If we did miss anybody, throw it out in the comments and tell us who we missed. We may talk about it at some point because I think there's a lot of guys. After we get through all these transfer rankings for skill position players, there might be some guys that we missed that we go back and look at. So drop it in the comments if you have anybody. That kind of wraps it up for me. Len, do you have anything to say as we wrap up our list?
Not really. Episode 30. It's crazy.
Yeah, in the books, episode 30. We'll be back next week with our rankings for wide receivers. I'm stoked about that one. It'll be fun.